And with us right now, we've got Amber Vilhauer. Amber, you're the CEO and founder of NGNG, which stands for No Guts, No Glory Enterprises. You and your team build websites, and you've built a lot of websites, over not more than 10, more than 100, more than 500, more than 1,000 websites you guys have developed. And so you specialize in online marketing, bestseller book launches. Thank you so much for joining us.
I've been looking forward to this, Josh. The work you're doing in the world, man, I have so much respect and pride for you. So thank you very much for what you do.
I appreciate that, Amber. All right, so how did you get into this world? What were you doing in your previous life?
Oh my gosh, it feels like it was fate, because before this, I was selling Cutco cutlery, which is high-end kitchen knives.
Yeah.
The next thing that I know, I'm at this event that it was kind of a side job, facilitating like the speakers and doing the back-end marketing and that sort of thing. And the speakers were talking about this online internet thing. And I thought, what's that? What's a blog? I didn't even know. But after that event, watching these speakers, actually Brendan Burchard was there, and the creator of Google AdWords was there. And it was just inspiring. I felt challenged. So I went home and I taught myself code, and I set up my own website. I started learning about copywriting and search engine optimization. I started blogging about what I was learning. And then before you know it, a small amount of time passed before somebody came to me and said, well, could you do that for me? And I said, sure. And so I had no business plan, Josh. I had no real ambitions. It was more of a hobby that turned out I could help a lot of people this way. And so now I love what we do. We're really good at it. And it just feels like a blessing.
I really think it's so exciting. And I think so many businesses are quite accidental. Like, no one starts off thinking that they are going to be a web developer or build websites, but you just kind of like, oh, I don't know, I just did it for myself. It's a matter of fact, that's every single business that I've done over the past, I'd easily 15 years has been unintentional. It's like, I had a problem, so I went out, solved the problem, or learned a bunch of stuff, got really, really good at it, and then just did it for myself. And then people were like, hey, can you do that for me? And like, okay, I guess so.
Well, isn't that such a good lesson for the times that we're in right now, right? Because people are probably scared, thinking like, I don't have a business plan. I don't know how to do this. Well, neither did I, but I just got started. I taught myself. Google's a powerful resource, and you can make incredible things happen and really successful businesses that way.
So you and Hal Elrod come from Cutco fame. Have you guys met?
Yes. Oh yeah. He's actually a client. We're just getting ready to launch his new Miracle Morning website. And I have like a whole Cutco family. There's John Broman from Front Row Dads, and John Rulin from Giftology, and John Berghoff is like the Johns of Exchange. And so, I was very fortunate to be friends with them back then, get to know them.
When you are in that kind of an environment, it can be hard as nails, but man, do you learn a lot. So I worked with prepaid legal, now Legal Shield. And that's what I did, because I had I had no other way of making money. And like, I had a failing small town newspaper that I had started because I thought that would be a great business in the early 2000s. And so someone approached me there, and I'm like, man, I think I can make money doing this. And so I grinded that out for 5 years. I made barely enough to pay the bills, but the environment was really good for me, because prior to that, I had so much aversion to anything that felt like selling. It was just my own psychological hang up there. And Amber, what did you learn about sales, both either from being in that environment or today?
Lots. And actually, I think it's important to mention that back then, I was a very different person that you see today. I had no confidence. I could barely look people in the eye. I was not nearly as smiley. I was actually a really lost, kind of troubled teen. And when I found Cutco, I had never sold anything a day in my life. And I just did what they told me to do, and it worked. So that's the power of having a great product that you can stand behind. When you really believe in what you're doing, the selling becomes effortless. Something that that I really love that they told me back then was sales is nothing more than a transfer of enthusiasm. So I learned how to develop natural, raw enthusiasm. I learned to do things in my life that delighted me. It brought me joy. It brought me fulfillment. So now when I'm on a quote sales call with somebody, oh my gosh, it's like a delight. It's like Christmas, because what I've learned now, Josh, is that sales is all about just connection. If I feel like we are connecting and I can add value to you and you trust me and you like me and we're connecting, then it's pretty easy after that.
Yeah.
It's just an exchange of value at that point. So, it's probably not what most typical salespeople would say, but I believe if you develop the personal connection first, that's how you're going to scale your influence.
Let me tell you again, and forgive me to my audience. Oh, here he goes again. But so I've been a consumer expert for 13 years now. And so I study and lead consumer behavior. That's what I do. And I can tell you that, today more than ever, we've never experienced a sentiment among consumers that are more resistant to being sold to. Consumers are used to being able, listen, I've got the internet. I've got access to all the facts and figures, so I don't need your ad. I'll just go find out the information on my own. And the best thing we can do is be authentic, give, serve. And I think that, one exercise, Amber, that was really helpful for me was thinking about and really internalizing this. What are the consequences of someone not using my solution, right? What would they potentially do instead to try to fill or solve that pain in their life? And I know what those other solutions are, and some of them are really painful. Like for Up My Influence, like I spent $25,000 on PR and had nothing to show for it. And so I know that if we don't do our job, there are other people, they're going to waste $25,000 as well, or they're going to stagnate. And so that's the thing. I think it's really helpful from a sales perspective as well, is imagining, and I think that's one way to kind of really light the fire under, since, really develop that urgency to be an evangelist for what you do, is think about what are the consequences of inaction. If I don't go out on those stages today or tomorrow and let people know, how I can, serve people. Without that, there could be people going out of business. Amber, a website, that's your house. That's your hub. And so without a website, it's just really difficult to kind of go to that next level business wise. So as someone, Amber, who, again, you've developed over 1,000 websites, can you tell me a little bit more about what those websites are? And then why is that really important in an age where everyone is kind of just living on social media? Why do you still want to have a great high performing website?
Well, the website, like you said, is the house. It's the hub and heart of everything else that you do. The point of social media is to get your ideas, your wisdom, your insights out to the world and to develop connection. But what happens after the connection is made? You don't just keep nurturing it and do nothing with it, right? You want to take it to the next level. Just like if you're dating, right? You want to take it to the next level. So the next level is you want to bring people back to your website where they can learn what your value is and all of the ways that you can try to support them. My personal belief is that your website needs to be experiential. And that's the word I want you to remember. It's not just here are the facts and figures of what I do and why I'm better than Joe Schmo. What does matter is that when somebody lands on your website, they get to experience you, the uniqueness of you. Like, Josh, you have so much energy and you're like this really intelligent, thoughtful, giving person, right? So it's like when I go to your website, I want to feel that without having to have you tell me that or have other people even tell me that that's who you are. I just want to know who you are right out of the gates. One of the ways that I do that, if you go to ambervilhauer.com, just Google me, do your best with the spelling, Vilhauer. But I mention it because when you land on my website, there's this video background and it's popping, it's moving. You see me on stage, I'm in the crowd, I'm dancing, I'm doing video, I'm on social media. because I'm a high energy person, right? I'm a fast talker. I'm smiley. So that video background shows you my essence right out of the gates. And if you don't like that, if you're like, whoa, too much going on there, I don't like that. Well, then we're probably not a fit to work together anyway. So it's a great weeding out process. But the right people come in, they look at that video, then they watch a video, me on camera, intimate conversation. And usually that's all it takes for them to naturally want to take the next step, which makes sales easier. So that's some of my methodology and belief system around websites.
Yeah. I'm a huge, huge fan of video. And I personally, I love little bite-sized videos that, someone looks at and they're like, oh, 2 minutes. Okay. I'll watch that. And then I think, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this, is I feel like with websites, and man, I've got so many things I want to ask you about. So
you need to do a part 2, Josh.
Because I've got some soapboxes, and I think you're with me on some of this stuff. All right. So I feel like with everything we're doing, we're kind of earning. We're earning with everything we do, everything we say, everything we communicate, like we're earning like 3 to 5 seconds at a time. And so it's like, all I'm asking for is just like, what we want to do is just spend as much time together as possible. So my time on site is the most important thing for me. It's like, if I can engage them and have them watch a video and have it be, as compelling as possible, I can get them to watch it as long as possible. Like, that's my biggest thing, is just relationship is built with time. And the more time we can spend together, the more likely they are to move on to that next thing. And so we're just kind of earning that attention, like 3 to 5 seconds at a time.
And you know what else you and I have in common, this approach with using video? I've noticed that, I click on a page, there's another video. You send me an email, there's another video. And I am the same way, Josh. Love you. Because every time people are watching your video, they're connecting with you in the deepest possible way that cannot happen with text, can't even happen fully on audio. But when you get to see somebody and their smile and their hand gestures and their movements and how genuine they are, oh my gosh, it makes all the difference in the world. I send video emails all the time to people. I'll spend 4 minutes with them because, like you said, it's spending that time, and who knows what the outcome will end up being. I don't even need to know that, because if it's not a sale, it's a referral, or it's me getting on another stage, or it's something else that's going to unfold. But spending the time and developing that connection. I'm actually writing a book on it called Elevate Every Experience. You just focus on elevating every touch point, you'll win. It's inevitable. Magic unfolds constantly.
What I like about video is I think most of us, like when we're watching, let's say you're watching like a reality TV show, like everyone always gravitates toward their favorites. Like my boys, my wife and I are watching Lego Masters. And right now, like we've got our favorite teams. I was like, well, why do you like them? I don't know. They're just like, I just feel their energy, their authenticity. They're total geeks on Lego. And I love that. That's so endearing, and they're not perfect and polished. And that's good. We don't want necessarily perfect and polished. People will, let me ask you this. Like, I've heard this saying too, people will become attracted to initially for that, maybe that attractive character, or that, oh, wow, look at the social proof, or look at the authority, or whatever it is, but they'll stay for the imperfections, for the authenticity, for the realness of your character. How do you feel on that?
I think you have to be as just yourself as possible. And by the way, there is tremendous freedom in just accepting your weirdness. Like who you are. It's so freeing. It's wonderful. It's so much easier. But people appreciate it too, because you know what? And we've all experienced this. You see somebody on social media and think, whoa, they really have it together, and I sure don't. Now I feel bad about myself, right?
Oh.
And there's this disconnect that happens. It's a distance, right? But if I'm just allow myself to have, like, I have a filler word, or I lose my track, or, I'm not perfect on video, that all of a sudden gives the viewer permission that they don't have to be perfect. They don't feel less than, they feel equal to. Now we're connecting on a deeper kind of level that wouldn't happen otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's just and look, that advice might not work for every brand, because there are brands that definitely want distance. That's intentional, right? I'm not one of those. I'm somebody that if you find me on Google and you send me a message like this guy, Ron Hiller, yesterday said, oh, I want to buy your course. I'll get back to you in a week. I stopped what I was doing. I sent him a 5-minute video message and just said, it's wonderful to connect with you, a new face in my inbox. How
Yeah.
are you? If I can do anything for you or your team, let me know. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So I just think it's about being genuine, being who you really are, and letting the rest unfold however it's going to. Don't force it.
Yeah, one way that you refer to this is all we're doing is we're lowering the digital barrier. So if
Yes.
Amber, if you and I were like at an event and they would say had lunch in a group, and I'm like, man, it's like you can, when we do business in person, we have just this immense opportunity to just feel someone's energy. And so the best we can do, because most of us in the internet world, I mean, we're just doing all of our business over the web. So the best thing you can do is lower that digital barrier, come across as authentic as possible. You don't need to be someone that you're not. You shouldn't do that, because people are like, they'll know. Like,
They'll
you can't.
know.
And here's
They
the thing.
know.
And here's the axe I have to grind with a lot of, so-called digital marketers is, I just don't think that they're very respectful of their audience, and when they consider it like, haha, here's a little tripwire, and then we're going to sneak them into this, and it's just all numbers for them, and it's, again, I just think it's a little too Machiavellian, where
Approach.
and I just don't I just see that that's working less and less and less and less. So you're more than just one funnel away from massive, from success. And success really, I think, Amber, I'm sure you've got a lot of great philosophy on this about, success is really based on like what's your impact in the world? How many lives can you change? That's so much more. And money is just a metric, like it's a byproduct of the good that you do in the world.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Speaking back to the normal digital marketers, in one way, I almost appreciate it because it provides contrast, right? And the people coming to me have that same feeling of like, it's an adverse reaction. Like, I don't like that. That's not who I am. And then I say, well, it doesn't have to be that way. Now, both camps might be successful. They're to each their own. But I believe, especially in this new world that we are entering into, connection is the key word. It's going to be all about connection, relationships. It's not even so much about the size of the list anymore. It's about the quality of that engagement now. And I do believe in exchanges of value. It's not just about money. I mean, for me, I just want to know when I hit that pillow at the end of the day, I want to know that I maximized my potential. I left it all on the line. Every single day. Seriously, ask anybody that knows me. I am a driver to the end. I am ruthless about helping people and serving and getting good messages out into the world. And the karmic reaction of that is like, I literally cannot believe that this is the life that I get to lead. It feels so good and magical. And I'm not blowing smoke here like most people do. This is my true heart speaking right here. Right. And that is what's possible when you just choose goodness and you just do the right thing and you do it for others and you're in service. It's amazing what unfolds.
Amber, what would be some of the biggest things that you see on people's websites that you're like, oh, I hope I can inspire people to do more of this, do less of that? What would those things be?
Horrible stock photos.
What, you don't like The Office where everybody's giving each other like a high five? Oh, it's unbelievable. Okay. In the personal finance space too. Like the biggest, gosh. Like we work with a lot of people in that space. The old couple wearing all white, walking on the beach hand in hand. It's like, are you concerned about your retirement?
I mean, so no more of that.
Yes.
But also when there's just, I think now, again, there's too much text. There's not enough personal connection. There's not enough video. There's not enough transparency. It's not in service to the person coming in. It's all about me and my photos and who I am. No, be in service to your audience. What can they learn and that supports them right out of the gates, right? So it's just a different mentality. And you know, everything that I do, both on my website and my marketing and my video, I do a ton of live streaming. Everything is hyper intentional. So you're welcome to go take a look and study what I'm doing and rip it off. Do it for yourself, because I'm telling you, it works.
What is the role of copy in all of this?
I think it's important. I think that video is more important. But what I do in copy is I speak to one person. I make it very conversational, and I try to make it as personal and vulnerable as I can and transparent as I can. So what I do, Josh, is I envision one person in my mind. Usually it's a client that like I freaking love. It's like fireworks every time I think of that person. I channel that person in and I think, what does this person need from me right now if I'm writing my about page? What do they need me to say to make an impact, to connect, to get them to see my value? And then all of a sudden, not to sound schmaltzy, but like my heart just opens and it's like, I'm present to that person, and then I just let it flow. I'm not like super strategic, like, ooh, I learned this one killer copy headline from somebody over there, and I should take that like a swipe file and put my own stuff in it. Like, no, I honestly, human to human connection. It's like, what does Josh need from me in this moment right now that's really going to make an impact? And then I write it and see what happens.
You know, you and I have, I'm on your website right now. I'm just looking at all of the people that you've been able to work with. Susie Carter is someone that I think the world of. Yeah. Tell me about some of the outcomes that you've been able to create for your clients.
Well, one of the things I'm most excited about right now is live streaming. And like for Mike's book launch coming up, Mike Michalowicz, I designed an entire program for more than 60 of his biggest influential friends are going to be interviewing him live and streaming that through LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, and then encouraging people to go buy his book. But then I shifted that same idea to also build a live stream protocol that any individual can go live with a script that I give them to promote Mike's book for him, even though he won't even be on the line. So now for his book launch, we have more than 100 people going live. And I have, like, I'm a junkie for live streaming. I know all about optimization, viral streaming. I just know how to make it work. So that is going to be a tremendous just tsunami of people in the world learning about Mike during his book launch. And that's just like one little example. But a lot of websites, a lot of #1 best-selling books. As it relates to book launches, one of the things that I'm focused on, Josh, is how do my clients make money before the launch? So I have clients that we've been in a year-round engagement preparing for their book launch, and I've enabled them to make more than $500,000 just off of the campaign building into it. And when you have an extra $500,000 to put into that book launch, you're going to have a much more significant impact in the world.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm looking at how do I build, whether I have a website client, I'm helping them with their marketing or live streaming or book launches, I'm thinking to myself, how can I make that business stronger as a result of the service that I provide? How can I set them up for success long term? It's not just about a launch. It's not just about one live stream. That's just a momentum moment that you need to pivot and leverage to power the next months of success. So I'm very strategic, very innovative, creative. I'm all in for my clients. I take it personally. And that therefore it becomes a different path and process for everybody because it's singularly focused on what they need from me the most.
Amber, our time went by way too fast. So listen, you have an insanely attractive personality. Where should people go if they're like, I want more Amber?
Then please have more of me. I'm ready for you. AmberVilhauer.com is an easy way to, it's kind of a hub site. You can learn everything that I'm doing. I have multiple websites out there. You can find me on social media. We'll be friends. We'll hang out. Let me know your questions or what moved the needle for you during this conversation. I'm easy to talk to.
Yeah. You know, one thing I'll point out, if you go to ambervilhauer.com/training, or you can hover over the little more hamburger menu and you
Mhm.
click on free, there are a ton of free videos here that are fantastic, of some great ways, Amber, that you give and serve for free, which I'm a huge fan of. So
Thank you, Josh.
Amber Vilhauer, again, over 1,000 websites that you've helped build and design, CEO and founder of No Guts, No Glory Enterprises. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're awesome, Josh. Thank you.